Welcome to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, a husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Ewell.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of zooming in. Do you have a habit of zooming in? Focusing on all the problems in your life today. Maybe it's a problem inside of your body, maybe your weight. You're focusing on where that's at. Maybe you're focusing on your nutrition and all the foods that you're supposed to be eating, but you're actually not. Maybe you're focusing on all the problems inside of your marriage. And maybe you're focusing on all the problems inside of your business and maybe your bank account. But wherever you're at, what I often find is a lot of the people and men that I coach, one of the things that they are constantly doing is focusing in on the problems they have on their life, like zooming in. And so imagine yourself with these glasses on that all you can see are the problems of your life. You're so focused on them that it's almost like you're just zoomed in on the problem. You see, one of the things that I realize is this is a way that we often feed our egos. And whether you want to admit it or not, most of our behaviors, most of our patterns are shaped in this reactive, zoomed in mode. And one of the things that it pulls us away from is our ability to tell the truth, our ability to actually back away and look at everything in our life and see what's really going on. Well, so the other day, as I, was on a coaching call, one of the men that I work with, we kind of walked through this process. And one of the things that he was focused on was, with his wife, someone like his wife not paying attention to him, and not only not paying attention to him, but he was just kind of focused on what his wife wasn't doing. See, he wasn't able to be 100% real. It was kind of like these were the feelings that he had. And as he started to get honest with himself, one of the things that came up was like, man, it seems like you're just zooming in on all the things that your wife's not doing. And what was really underneath it was a lot of fear, sadness, and anger. A lot of these surface level problems, but below those was this story of not wanting to be alone, this story of wanting to be loved, this story of wanting to be wanted. But as we zoom into problems, it's hard for us to be 100% real. It's hard for us to be 100% honest, and it's hard to be vulnerable because you're so zoomed in that you can't actually step back and see what's really going on. And why this may be relevant to you is because I think there's a lot of men, male entrepreneurs, a lot of people in the world that are zoomed into their problems so much that we become reactive to life instead of life, flowing and kind of happening. We are just reacting to life. But I want to talk to you today about how this process of zooming in to zooming out can actually help you see what's really going on. It can help you with being honest. It can help you with being real, and it can help you with being vulnerable. It can also help us with discovering the truth of any underlying emotions that we may have. And as you work through this and as you work through each level, you'll notice what actually shifts inside of you as you begin to do this. Now, one of the things that happens a lot of times is, we may be angry, or we may feel anger, or we may feel fear, we may feel worry or lack or sadness. And one of the things that I often see people do is, instead of acknowledging it, they try to hide it and act like they're not. And so a lot of times it ends up getting even more mad, being even more worried, having more lack, feeling more of whatever that is, because we're not willing to simply admit, hey, I am angry. I am, sad. I am, hurt, or I am scared. Whatever it is, we have a hard time admitting what that is. And so as we stay there, it's hard to be honest when you're just focused on anger. When you're just focused on anger and zoomed into anger, it's hard to be honest about what is underneath that. And one of the things that I've discovered from working with coaches and, trainers and people that I've worked with while walking myself through this process is, when you're so zoomed in on the problem, it's hard to see what's really going on in the bigger picture. It's hard to see the success you may be having. It's hard to see that, hey, this may actually be something that's from your past. And because you're living in a reactive state, because you're living in this survival state from this egoic place, it's hard to take a step back and say, well, my life's actually really working for me right now. This is just something that kind of came up from my past, and I'm just going to begin to work through that. And so one of the lessons that you can begin to learn from this is, zooming out actually helps us look at the entire picture or the entire frame. So imagine if you have a picture, and if all we did was just focus on one portion of the picture, we would actually miss out on the entire rest of it and see what's really happening. And a lot of time in life, that's what we tend to do, is we focus in on the problem instead of actually stepping back, acknowledging, hey, I am, scared. I am feeling fear. I am, sad. And as we do this, we acknowledge what we're actually feeling. And I think it's important that we do this. And then as we walk through the next step, you are simply declaring, I am feeling angry. I am feeling sad. I am feeling, hurt. I am feeling whatever feeling is coming up for you. And then in this place, one of the things that begins for us, the ways that we begin to change, is becoming aware of the feelings, becoming aware of what's going on inside of us. And so as I become aware, awareness precedes change. And if I really want to change the feeling, I have to be aware of the feeling and I have to acknowledge the feeling. And once I can do that, I can begin to move on from zooming in to zooming out. And as you go through this process, you begin to see that you're actually zooming out and you're moving away from the problem more and more. And so as I started, I am angry, I am fearful, goes into I am feeling angry, I am feeling fearful, goes into I am aware of feeling angry, fearful, worried, lack, whatever it is for you. And as you begin to do this, you begin to back away more and more. We begin to zoom out, and we can just take a breath or two breaths in between each sequence, and we can move into the next thing. I am aware of being aware. So imagine I am aware of feeling whatever it is, lack, fear, all these things, sadness. But now I'm just aware of being aware. And now we could almost look at the problem as now outside of us. It's going away. And as the problem begins to dissolve, it moves out of me and away from me, and I no longer feel that lack. I no longer feel that anger. I no longer feel that sadness. It's now moved outside of me, and I'm kind of looking at it from a completely different perspective. I'm aware of it, but I'm no longer zoomed into it like I was. And just think about this. We have fears, not having enough, fear of maybe being unloved, unwanted, fear of, not having enough money, fear of loss. But imagine that, hey, just by you declaring I am fearful of not having enough money goes into I am feeling fearful of not having enough money, goes into I am aware of feeling fearful of not having enough money, goes into I am aware of being aware, and all of a sudden not having enough money, that fear begins to move away from me. And as it moves away from me, I am aware. And as I am aware, I can just rest in this place and I can notice what's shifting outside of me. The fear is gone and I feel a sense of freedom. I feel a sense of freedom that I've moved on from the fear and I've zoomed out. And it feels much more natural in this place. It feels much more aligned in this place. And as you shift into this place, you begin to shift back into the present moment, because a lot of this fear, sadness, anger, this stuff comes from our past. It can also come from thinking too far ahead in the future. But once you have done this zooming out, we can begin to move into the present moment. We can begin to appreciate the present moment. We can begin to become aware of the present moment, and we can begin to move into, well, what is the truth in this emotion of, hey, I'm just zoomed in and focused in on life. And instead of me controlling life, or at least controlling my anger, all of a sudden now I'm aware of it and I can move away from it and I could acknowledge the truth of what's under this fear or anger. And maybe it's just a feeling of sadness, or maybe it's just something that came up that I want to work with. But whatever it is, I want you to begin to make this a practice. And in the next time you feel like you're zooming into a problem in your marriage, the next time you feel like you're zooming in to, where your body is, the next time you feel like you're zooming into where your bank account is, take a moment to walk through these 4 steps and to zoom out and really look at the bigger picture and realize that just becoming aware, you begin to come back into the present moment. I want to thank you guys for being on here today. If you're looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I will be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. Maybe you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle. Feel free to reach out to me, Jesse at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.